Tonight we're not just telling a story. We're stepping into a world where cruelty wore a crown, and survival was not your right. It was a struggle, a world where sugar bled red, where your name could be stripped away with your skin, where even the sunrise was not yours. You don't know it yet, but today will echo through time. The land, the heat, the whip, all of it remembers. You were not born to be broken, but here, that won't matter. Now, close your eyes. Let go of the present. Let go of the noise. Breathe in. You wake up. In the year 1787, the light is heavy, yellow, blinding. It hits you like judgment. The world smells like smoke and molasses, like rusted chains and boiling cane stalks. Your skin is slick. Your back aches already. You haven't moved yet. You are a newly arrived slave, stripped of your name, your tongue, and everything you once loved. A number now, a body, a tool. Let the day begin. You lie on the wooden floor of the slave quarters, barely wide enough to stretch your limbs. Above you, the roof leaks with the sweat of night. Beneath you, the boards creak with breath. A dozen others, curled like commas. In the sentence of this place, you are not alone, but you've never felt more alone. Someone stirs beside you. A woman murmuring, in a language the overseers don't understand. Maybe even you don't understand anymore. Your chest is tight, your mouth dry, your lips cracked from last night's punishment. Your back remembers something your mind still won't accept. And then the sound, a bell, not for prayer, not for celebration, but for labor, for orders, for the long march into the fields. This bell does not ring for you. It rings against you. You stand, or try to. Your feet are raw. Blisters from yesterday's march haven't healed, but there's no time. The door slams open. A white man in a long coat and sun hat stands in the frame, a whip loose in his hand, like it belongs there. Move! That's the only English word that matters here. You shuffle forward. The sun outside doesn't rise. It attacks. Within seconds, your skin is cooking, not sun-kissed, sun-punished. The field stretches before you. Miles of sugar cane, taller than a man, sharper than a blade. Somewhere in there, someone already screams, and the day hasn't even begun. They put the machete in your hand. It's not a gift. It's not a tool. It's a test. You cut fast, or you get cut. Not by cane, but by lash. Each stalk sliced is like slicing your own breath. The sugar splinters whip back, slashing your arms. You bleed sugar and salt. Time disappears. There is no morning, no lunch, no afternoon, just heat, orders, and silence between screams. A boy beside you falters. He's maybe 12. His blade drags. A white overseer sees. The whip flies. The boy screams, not like a child, like something primal, something that's trying not to die, but doesn't know how to live. You don't look away, because you can't, because you know, if you blink, you could be next. Somewhere inside, a voice whispers, "This isn't real. I'll wake up." But another voice, older, quieter, says, "You are awake." And this is what they called life. Your hands cramp. You keep cutting. Your vision blurs. No one speaks your name because you no longer have one. They gave you a new one on the docks. Something short, something English, something easier to yell across a field. Your real name is buried somewhere between the ocean and your memories. And still, the sun climbs. And still, you stand. Because if you fall, you don't rise. You see a woman ahead of you, older, eyes like dusk. Her hands move without thought. She's done this too long. You want to ask her, how do you survive this? But no one talks in the fields, not unless you want pain. She glances at you just once, and it's enough. In her eyes, you see it. This is not life. This is endurance. This is resistance. As night begins to whisper on the horizon, the bell rings again. You drop the machete. Your hands don't open. They stay curled around the phantom weight. You walk back to the quarters, each step like walking through fire. And for the first time all day, someone speaks to you. A voice, software familiar. A boy, maybe the same one who was whipped, maybe a different one. He asks, "Where are you from?" You open your mouth. No words come out. Only silence. You don't know it yet, but today will echo through time. Every scar, every silence, every breath, written in history's pages, not by the free, but by the broken, who refused to stay broken. You were not born to be broken, but here, that won't matter. Sleep if you can. Tomorrow comes with teeth. Before your eyes fully open, something burns your nose. Not smoke, not fire. It's rot. Rotting leather, sour sweat, wet cane mold, the reek of someone else's skin, clinging to the rag you used as a blanket last night. The ground is earth, but it feels like bone. You cough, dry, harsh, involuntary. And that's when it hits you. You're not in your body the same way anymore. Your muscles don't obey. Your spine doesn't stretch. Everything is compressed, like your soul has shrunk to fit inside something that wasn't made for you. Your eyelids flutter. There's no sunrise, no birdsong, only the buzzing of flies and the aching wet heat. That never left. You sit up. Your stomach moans, empty and acidic. Your back stings with every motion. Yesterday's lashes blooming again, raw across your ribs. You barely remember how you got here. In the distance, the wind carries the sharp, sickly sweet scent of boiling sugar cane. It might sound pleasant, but it isn't. Because the boiling house isn't where sweetness lives. It's where skin peels. Here's the surprise they never teach in school. The inside of a sugar-boiling house often reached 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Slaves were forced to work barefoot next to open vats of syrup and steam. One misstep, and your skin melted before you could scream. You breathe in again. Too shallow. You'll get used to it, or you won't. You crawl from your straw mat, stepping over sleeping bodies. Some are children, some are ancient, some don't move at all. You don't check if they're breathing. You can't, because even that small pause might be seen as resistance. The door to the slave hut creaks. You blink against the violent white of the outside world. The sun in Jamaica does not rise. It descends like judgment. Your skin shrinks from it. But there is nowhere to hide. You step out, and the world attacks you all at once. The ground is mud and ash. Someone has already vomited beside the hut. Chickens peck at something red in the dirt. Your legs buckle slightly. Your body remembers what the mind wants to forget. And then the bell. Again, same as yesterday. Louder this time, as if it's inside your ribcage. You move with the others, bare feet, dragging toward the cane fields like a funeral procession with no coffin, because the dead don't get buried here. They get thrown. You reach the clearing where tools hang like weapons. A man hands you a machete without looking at you. It's dull, heavy, crusted with dried blood. Not yours, not yet. You wrap the rag around your hand and grip it anyway. The overseer yells again. You look up. He's got a wide hat, pale skin gone sun-wrinkled, a pistol at his side. He points toward the cane. No words needed. Cut. You step into the cane. It towers above you. Every stalk is a blade. The leaves slice your forearms. Your sweat turns the cuts into fire. The cane does not forgive. And when you cut, it fights back, splintering, snapping, whipping your face like it knows you don't belong here. It's loud in a quiet way. The buzz of insects, the groan of blades, the hiss of breath from the person beside you who might collapse soon. A girl stumbles. You hear the whistle of the whip before you see it. Crack, it lands. She doesn't scream. She just sinks. You look down. You cut faster. The sun climbs, but time doesn't move. There's no bell for food, no moment of shade. Only more cane, more blood. You pass a stump in the field. Someone whispers. They used to tie runaways to that. You don't look again. Hours blur. Your hands become something else, not yours. They blister, they tremble, they bleed. But you don't stop, because if you stop, you disappear, and no one will speak your name again, because most never learned it. You are not Kofi anymore. You are not Adana. You are not Ijoma. You are boy, girl, strong back, good teeth. Your mind plays tricks. You hear drums, but there are no drums. You hear your mother's voice, but she drowned before you even reach the shore. You feel sleep trying to claim you, standing up, so you cut yourself, just a scratch, on the thigh. The pain keeps you in this world, for now. When the overseer finally yells, enough, it's not mercy. It's just the end of one sentence before the next begins. You drop the machete. It clangs softly. Even metal sounds tired here. Your hands don't uncurl. You try to stand straight. You can't. Your spine is bent, not broken, but it wants to be. Back at the quarters, you rinse your face with a ladle of brown water. It smells like rust, tastes like sweat and copper. You drink it anyway, because your body wants to survive, even when your soul doesn't. Inside, someone sings. A woman with gray eyes. She sings in Yoruba, maybe Igbo, maybe Ashanti. You don't understand all the words, but you know what it means. She's calling the ancestors, calling them to see, to remember. You lie back down, same mat, same stench, but your chest moves. That means you're still alive, for now. And deep inside, you think, what if I never get out? But a louder thought answers, no one gets out. Not with their name, not with their soul, only with scars. You don't sleep. You just go still. You breathe in, too shallow. You'll get used to it, or you won't. Your first task, stay alive long enough to reach midday. That's it. Not escape, not hope, not fight. Just survive. And already, that seems impossible. You wake up before the bell today, not because you're rested, but because your body has learned the rhythm of dread, the way a heartbeat changes before punishment, the way your lungs brace for heat. Your mouth tastes like rust and burlap. Your tongue is thick. Your lips are split open. The wounds formed, not from violence, but from thirst. There was no water last night. There won't be enough today either. You sit up slowly. Your back is wet with sweat already, and the day hasn't even begun. You reach for the bucket in the corner of the slave hut. The water inside is the color of fear. Someone's hand reaches before yours. You let them take it, because you can't afford conflict. Not in here, not with your own. You find another ladle, barely a sip, warm, metallic. But you drink anyway, because maybe you'll need to run today. And a body without water can't run at all. Someone outside coughs, hard, ragged, too long. You glance through the broken wood slats. It's the boy from yesterday, the one who bled in the cane fields. He hasn't stopped shaking, but he's standing. That's what matters here. Standing is surviving. You step into the morning. The sun slices the sky like a knife, and it doesn't miss. The fields yawn in front of you, green and endless. You whisper a word, not out loud, just to yourself. Maybe a name, maybe a prayer. It sounds foreign now. Your own voice has started to forget you. You're handed your blade again. Same one, still crusted from yesterday, still yours. Your palms have hardened already, but the pain remains. Today's task, cut twice as fast. The overseer says the quota's increased because a ship is coming. More sugar, more profit, more bodies needed to make it happen, and you are one of those bodies. You begin to cut. There is no rhythm, only desperation. Your stomach growls, loud and hopeless. You had a bite at yam last night, a chunk of something that may have once been corn. You chewed slowly, so your brain could pretend it was a meal. But now, your hands tremble, not from fear, from hunger. Your body plays tricks. You smell fruit where there is none. Your mind flashes pictures of mangoes, of roasted plantain, of river fish grilled on sticks. But there's only sugar cane, and it offers nothing. Even if you dared to chew it, to suck sweetness from the stalks, they'd know, and they'd beat you for it, because that sweetness is not for you. The sun is higher now. Your skin blisters beneath your shirt, if you even have one. Sweat stings your lashes, and your hands cramp, badly. You pause, just 1 second, to stretch your fingers. You hear the horse behind you before you feel the fear rise. The overseer, he's watching, always watching. You don't turn, you don't speak, you just cut again, faster. You feel your nails tearing at the edges, but your arm keeps moving, because the body wants to live, even when the soul no longer does. At midday, someone collapses. An old man, his knees buckle, his blade drops. He doesn't scream. He just lowers himself like he's trying to return to the soil. Two men lift him, barely. He's not their father, not their brother. But out here, suffering makes you kin. The overseer walks over. He doesn't speak. He lifts the old man's head with a stick. The man doesn't open his eyes. He doesn't have to. The overseer spits beside him, deduct from his ration, and walks away. You hear the words, but your mind hears something else. That could be you by tomorrow. And another voice, older, deeper, says, "It will be you if you don't move." So you move. You always move. When the day ends, your steps aren't steps. They're falls. Each footfall is a choice, a gamble. One wrong step, and you cramp, twist, drop. And if you drop, you disappear. Back at the hut, you kneel by the bucket again. The water's nearly gone. You don't ask. You just hope. A woman hands you a cup. She doesn't speak, but in her eyes, something gentle. It's not kindness, not here. It's memory, as if she remembers what it felt like to be new, to be starving, to be scared. You drink. It tastes like nothing, but it feels like survival. Your body curls on the floor again. The same wooden boards, the same rag blanket, the same breathless night air. You are a number, a tool, a shadow of a person once remembered by someone far across the sea. And inside, a thought returns. What if they notice I don't belong here? What if they see the way you flinch when they yell? What if they see the way you look at the stars, searching for something older than this place? What if they see your doubt, your questions, your grief? What if they see your soul? Because in this world, a soul is a liability. You shift. Someone's breath stirs your shoulder. The girl beside you whispers, "You knew?" You nod once. She nods back. Then silence again. Even kindness must be measured in this place. Too much, and it becomes a target. Tomorrow is waiting. You feel it, curling beneath the floorboards like a snake, hot, coiled, ready to strike. But for now, you are here, alive, hurt, but alive. Your first task, stay alive long enough to reach midday. Tomorrow, you'll try again. There's no room for weakness in this world, because even the gods are watching. Not their gods, yours. You feel it when the wind shifts. You hear it in the low hum of breath before dawn. You see it in the eyes of the old woman who hasn't spoken your name, but knows it. There is no church here, no altar, no scripture. But still, there is faith, buried, quiet, breathing. You rise before the bell today, not because you want to, because you must. The others are already awake, moving like ghosts, slow, silent, cautious. There's a strange stillness in the quarters. Someone is missing. You feel it. Then you hear it, soft murmurs behind the hut. Just beyond the edge of the clearing, you step outside, careful not to draw attention. Behind the hut, a circle of bodies, kneeling in the dirt. A woman in the center holds a small wooden bowl, cracked but clean. Inside, ash, water, something red, maybe blood, maybe berries, maybe both. She dips her fingers, touches her chest, then her forehead, and then she speaks, not in English, not in the tongue of the slave owners, but in something older, something the whip can't understand. You kneel. You don't know why. Your knees find the ground naturally. The woman's voice weaves through the air, slow and rhythmic, more vibration than language. You don't understand the words, but your body does. Something inside you stirs. A thread tugged loose from a forgotten tapestry. You feel warmth rise up from your belly to your chest. You are not alone. You were never alone. The ceremony is short. No one dares linger. A rooster crows in the distance. Time to return. You stand changed, not freer, not stronger, but steadier. Something has been planted in you, and it will grow, even in this poisoned soil. You walk to the fields as the sun sharpens its knives. But your chest is not as tight today. You still carry your hunger, still carry your pain, still carry your silence. But now, you carry something else too. Midday, your blade swings like breath now, not graceful, but ritualistic. You whisper words under your breath as you cut. A name, a prayer, a piece of home. Each whisper is a seed. And seeds grow. The overseer walks past. His shadow cuts over your face. He doesn't know what you're saying, but he watches your lips. He yells. You nod. You obey. But inside, you do not kneel, because even gods are watching. That night in the slave hut, the girl beside you sings under her breath, a tune without words. A melody that your bones remember. You close your eyes, and you see faces, not here, not now, but then and there. A village, a fire, a drum, your mother's hands in your hair. You're not sure if it's memory or dream, but either way, it feeds you. You are not just a servant. You are the offering. That thought follows you into sleep. It lives inside you now. Each scar, each whisper, each breath of defiance behind your silence. They are prayers, not spoken to be heard, spoken to be remembered. Someone tells you later, a whisper in the cane field, she's a priestess. They mean the woman from the morning ritual. From Dahomey, she remembers the old ways. You nod. You don't ask questions. You've learned. Questions here are dangerous. But belief is a weapon hidden inside the body. No one can take it unless you give it. Days pass. The rituals continue. Hidden, quiet, half-formed. Some days it's a song. Some days a trace of chalk across someone's skin. Some days just a look. And each time you feel it return, that thread, tighter, stronger, connecting you not just to them, but to yourself. One evening the priestess looks at you, really looks. Her eyes are dark as the ocean that brought you here. She says one word, remember. That's all, but it hits like thunder, because deep inside, you've been trying to forget, to protect yourself from pain. But now you see the truth. Forgetting is death. Memory is the only freedom left. You are not just a servant. You are the offering. You repeat it now, every morning, as you lift the blade, as you drink the bitter water, as you step into the field that wants to erase you. You say it softly, not to others, to yourself. Because if your body must be broken, your spirit will not. And somewhere far beyond the reach of this island, an ancestor hears your voice. No law protects you. Only power does. And power here is not earned. It's not granted. It's taken. You feel it in every step you take that isn't yours. You see it in every command that doesn't come from God, but still demands obedience like Scripture. You walk the line, not a path, not a road, but a narrow, invisible line you must not cross, ever, because if you do, you disappear. The governor's cart rolls down the central lane. It doesn't rattle. It glides. Pulled by 4 black horses, manicured, clean, muscled. You and the others freeze. No one dares to speak, not even a whisper. Even eye contact is too much, because the man in the cart wears a coat stitched with gold, a powdered wig too heavy for this heat, and a face untouched by sun or sweat. And behind him, soldiers on foot, rifles slung, boots polished, faces blank. He doesn't look at you. He doesn't have to. A white overseer riding nearby mutters, "Make way for His grace." His grace. You almost laugh, but then you remember, laughing here can cost everything. So you lower your head. You let the dust of his wheels coat your legs, because here, dust is safer than defiance. He passes, gone in seconds, but the feeling stays, a cold stone in your belly, because this man, who didn't even blink at your presence, holds the power to determine whether you eat tonight or bleed. And you wonder, what's his name? What title will history give him? Master? Governor? Tyrant? And then another thought claws its way up. Centuries from now, will anyone even remember his name? That thought sticks, like a thorn behind your ribs, because in your world, names are erased. Your name was replaced. Your ancestors' names were left in the ocean. Your children, if you survive to have any, may never speak your real language, but he will have a statue, a street, a law. You'll have silence, unless another whistle. Back to work. The bell rings again, and your knees ache before you even reach the cane. The overseer today is in a mood. He paces the line, whip slung over his shoulder like it's part of him. His boots crunch dried leaves and flies. No slacking today, he says. But he's not speaking to you. He's performing, showing dominance for the other whites watching from the hill. They sip from glasses. Their shirts are clean. They laugh. You are not a person in their eyes. You are a production unit. You begin to cut. Your hands know the rhythm now. Your shoulders cry out, but they move. And as you work, the rules race through your mind. Don't speak unless spoken to. Don't stop unless told. Don't look an overseer in the eye. Don't run, ever. Don't pray where they can see you. Don't teach others to read. Don't teach your children their history. Don't carry anything that looks like a weapon. Don't ever hope too loudly. There is a law here, but it is not for you. It is a weapon, a cage, a leash. Once you saw a man punished for letting a goat escape. He was lashed 50 times in front of everyone, then made to carry the dead goat across his back for a day. It broke his spine. They buried him at the edge of the cane with no marker. You remember where, but no one says his name now, because saying names invites punishment. Another story, whispered only in the dark. A woman tried to run. She made it 7 miles, but the dogs caught her. They didn't kill her. The overseer made sure of that. Instead, they branded her neck with a hot iron. R for runaway. She walks slower now. She doesn't smile. She doesn't speak, but she's still here. That in itself is resistance. You hear the stories. You live inside them, and part of you starts to harden. You stop asking why. You stop asking when will this end. You just ask, can I survive long enough to matter? Later that day, a new boy arrives. He's young, maybe 13, eyes still wide, still burning. He hasn't learned to lower his gaze yet. The overseer pushes him toward a machete. Work. The boy stares. Doesn't move fast enough. Crack. The whip lands once, then again. He drops to his knees, not because of pain, but because of understanding. You see it in his face, that first internal collapse, when a soul learns the rules aren't just threats. They are real. You want to help him, to tell him how to survive. But you don't. You can't. Because power here is built on isolation. One kindness too many, and you become a threat. And threats are erased. So you turn back to the cane. You cut. And inside you whisper, you are not just a servant. You are the offering. The phrase returns again. Not as weakness, but as armor. Because if there is no justice here, then justice must be carried inside you. Somewhere in a future you'll never see, a historian will read records. She'll read the names of the plantation owners, the sugar shipments, the profits. She may not find your name, but maybe, just maybe, she'll find your story. Yet centuries from now, they may not know your face, but your pain will echo in the silence between lines of text. And that might be enough. You haven't spoken all day. There's no one to speak to. Not truly, not freely. The only words that pass between lips here are commands, whispers, or cries. And yours stay locked behind your teeth, because even your voice feels dangerous, like it could betray you without warning. You hold the same blade, feel the same sun, step through the same ash and mud track as yesterday and the day before. But today, something is different, and that something is you. You don't cry. You haven't in days. But there is a pressure in your chest, sharp, choking, like you're drowning inside your own ribs. The kind of pain that has no wound, only silence. This morning they woke you before the bell. A younger girl had died in the night. No ceremony, no mourning, just a grunt from the overseer. Bury her near the edge. You dug with your hands. The earth was dry, unforgiving. They gave you no shovel, no prayers, no time, just dirt. You placed her body in the shallow grave, covered her face with palm leaves, pressed her hair flat. One last time. You think her name was Mariama, but you're not sure, because here names are only spoken in whispers, and sometimes not at all. Now in the field your blade drags. You cut, but not cleanly. You slip. You fall. Your knees sink into the mud like they've been waiting. You hear someone nearby hiss, "Get up." But your limbs feel far away, disconnected, like they belong to someone else now. The overseer's footsteps crunch behind you, but he doesn't strike you. Not today. He just stands there, waiting, not for your apology. That wouldn't matter. He's waiting for your submission, for the look in your eyes that says, "I've given up." You lift your gaze slowly, and something inside you cracks. Maybe I'm not meant for this. Maybe the gods made a mistake. You rise, but not fully, only enough to survive, to not be noticed again. Because today, you're not afraid of pain. You're afraid of vanishing, of becoming like the others whose eyes don't blink anymore. who move only when pushed, whose souls slipped out quietly, unnoticed. The sun climbs higher, time thickens, and your mind plays tricks again. You hear voices, feel warmth that isn't there, smell something sweet, mango maybe, long lost to memory. Then you hear music, real or imagined, you're not sure. But the melody makes your throat tighten, and suddenly you're not in the field. You're on a boat, the middle passage, dark, packed, screaming. You remember your mother calling your name across the water. Or maybe she never did. Maybe that memory is just hope pretending to be real. You blink, you're back, cane all around you. The sound of someone vomiting nearby, the snap of a whip in the distance, and the realization you don't know what day it is. You don't know if this is the present or a nightmare wearing its skin. Back at the quarters, you sit alone. The girl beside you says nothing, neither do you. She braids her hair with trembling fingers. One braid, two braids. Then she stops. She's forgotten how, or maybe she remembers, and it hurts too much. You want to ask, do you remember your real name? But the words never leave your mouth. That night, you lie awake, your body flat on the wood, arms by your side, eyes open. The moonlight slips through the slats like fingers, and you feel the weight of emptiness, not hunger, not fatigue, something deeper. What they don't tell you about slavery is that it isn't just brutality, it's boredom, monotony, silence that stretches into eternity, days that blur into years without ever changing, the same fields, same commands, same ache, over and over, until even your pain feels recycled. You think of the priestess, you think of her word, remember, and suddenly you don't want to, because memory hurts, hope hurts, even dreaming hurts. You turn your face to the wall and whisper to the cracks in the wood, what if I stay like this, half awake, half gone, a shadow inside a name I never chose? What if I never feel real again? No answer comes, just the low breath of sleepers, the wind through palm leaves, the distant call of a bird that's free. And for the first time since you arrived, you feel it rising in your chest, not rage, not fear, not sorrow, but something far more dangerous, numbness. Sleep doesn't take you. You just stop noticing when the night ends. You are not just a servant. You are the offering. The phrase comes back to you. But tonight, it feels hollow, like an echo shouted into a cave too deep to care. And yet, you whisper it anyway, because it's all you have left. There is a line in the sand. You must choose now, not tomorrow, not when it's safe, not when someone else leads. Now the day begins as all others do, with ash in your mouth and heat on your neck. You wake without command, because your body no longer needs to be told how to suffer. You step out of the hut, and something feels wrong, not in the air, not in the light, in the people. They move too fast, their eyes don't meet, their hands tremble, even the strong ones. You hear only fragments of whispers. It happened last night. They caught him. He tried to run, and then silence. The work bell doesn't ring. Instead, the soldiers come, not the overseers, not the masters. Soldiers, real uniforms, real muskets, real intent. Your breath catches, because when soldiers show up, It means something irreversible has been done, and someone is going to bleed for it. They march into the center of the clearing, and in the middle, a boy, bound at the wrists, face bloodied, feet dragging. It's the same boy who arrived 2 weeks ago, the one who stared too long, the one who still had a fire behind his eyes. His name was Kojo. You only heard it once, but you remember it now, because after today, no one will dare speak it again. The soldiers throw him to the dirt. He doesn't groan. He doesn't move. He's already said everything he came to say. Now it's your turn. The master steps forward. Not the governor. No, the estate master. The one who signs the rations, assigns the huts, and orders the lash. He clears his throat and speaks like someone delivering a sermon. This slave attempted to escape the plantation grounds. He stole food. He left his assigned quarters. He resisted capture. He looks at you, all of you. He threatened the safety of this family and yours. A pause. You will now bear witness to the consequence. They bring out the post, a thick wooden beam, splintered, darkened with memory. You've seen it before. You've heard what it does, but never this close, never like this. They tie Kojo's hands to it. He still doesn't speak, but his eyes scan the crowd. They land on you, and in them there's no fear, only the question. Will you stand for me? The soldiers raise their whips. The first crack doesn't startle you. It's the second one, because it sounds like tearing. The third comes fast. By the 7th, his back is split open. By the 12th, blood stains the post. But they keep going. And you stand and do nothing. Because you've seen what happens to those who do. Because your legs won't move. Because your breath is shallow. Because you're afraid that if you speak, you'll become him. But your silence doesn't protect you. It condemns you. Because inside, a war begins. If I let this happen, am I any better than them? If I step forward, will I matter? Or will I just disappear faster? If no one resists, who are we? The boy's screams have stopped now. His body hangs, barely conscious, and the master turns again. He speaks one more sentence. Let this be the last time we see such defiance. Then he leaves. So do the soldiers. The post remains. So does the blood. And you don't move. You don't cry. You don't pray. You just exist. For now. That night, the air is thicker than usual. No one speaks. Even the priestess says nothing. But someone, maybe the girl from your hut, maybe not, places a strip of cloth on the edge of the quarters. Red, stained, folded carefully, an offering for him, for all of them, for the ones who didn't make it, and for the ones too afraid to try. You lie awake, and the question won't leave you. If the world gave you one chance to resist, would you take it? Because tomorrow may bring the same fields, the same sun, the same whip. But inside you now, there's a crack, a sliver of something that could become action, or guilt, or both. You are not just a servant. You are the offering. But tonight, you wonder, when does an offering become a fire? What happens next will follow you into legend or oblivion. A single nail costs a day's work. A knife, too, but you're not paid in coins. You're paid in something much heavier. Sweat. skin, blood. The economy of the plantation is not written in ledgers you can read. It's carved into backs, etched into hunger, measured in the weight of your silence. They trade what you bleed, and you get nothing in return. Today you are sent to the tool shed before the others, not as a favor, because the overseer is tired, and he wants the blades ready. Inside it smells of iron and mildew. You see hooks, chains, rusted axes, broken saws, and the thing that makes your stomach turn, cuffs, dozens of them. Not for the ankles of oxen, not for livestock. For you, for people. You touch nothing, but everything touches you. On a table wrapped in burlap lies a handful of items you've never touched, but dreamed of often. A flint striker, a belt knife, a small tin cup, a needle and thread. For the slaves who work in the house, these items might be seen. For field hands like you, they're fantasy. You stare at the flint striker and wonder, how many lives is that worth? Because fire means cooking, means warmth, means escape. The door creaks. A man enters, old, slow-moving, gray hair in tight braids. He doesn't speak. He lifts one machete, tests its edge, then gestures for you to do the same. You obey. As you inspect the blade, he leans closer and mutters, "Don't trust the steel. It remembers every swing." Then he's gone. You hold the blade tighter. Outside, the fields beckon again, but now the numbers have changed. You don't see sugar. You see profit. Every stalk equals 6 ounces of juice. 50 stalks equals 1 pound of sugar. 1 pound of sugar equals 3 pence in England. 3 pence equals a new whip. It hits you all at once. You are being worked to fund the very tools that keep you enslaved. Surprise fact. In the 18th century, sugar plantations in the Caribbean generated more wealth for Britain than all of North America's colonies combined. But that wealth was built entirely on human bodies. Your body. You try to do the math, but it hurts, because math here is never in your favor. That evening, someone sneaks you a small bag. Inside, dried cassava, a piece of soap, a tiny wood-carved figure. The boy who gives it to you, maybe 14, just nods. "Trade from the Maroons," he says. You freeze. The Maroons, escaped slaves, forest warriors, ghosts to the planters, legends to you. "How?" you whisper. He shrugs. "My uncle goes out sometimes, barters, quietly." You look again at the soap. It smells like ash and mint. You haven't been clean in weeks. You almost cry, but you trade your portion of yam instead. The boy accepts it. You say nothing more, because this is not a market. This is resistance. That night, you sit behind the quarters and wash your hands with real soap. The scent lifts something out of your chest, something old, long buried. You almost remember what it felt like to be human, but the soap is gone too quickly, like all things here, and you're left staring at your palms, scarred, blistered, splintered, but still yours. The next morning, an elder teaches you how to tie a bag with thread from banana leaf, not because you asked, because he saw you trading and saw in you something dangerous, hope. He speaks while tying. "We used to carry gold like this back home. Now we carry firewood and secrets." You nod. You carry the bag like it's armor, because it is. How many lives are worth a pair of shoes? The question returns to you often. You watch the overseer's boots, polished, reinforced. He walks where you kneel, and you wonder, would he sell a life for a nail? The answer is yes. He already has. Every part of you is part of the machine. Your arms, force your legs, speed your back, weight-bearing your womb, if you're a woman. Future inventory. They don't own you. They own your output. But the difference is invisible until it kills you. That night, someone whispers in your ear as you sleep. There's a market in the hills, only for us, only on moonless nights. You want to ask where, how, who, why, but you already know. You ask too much, you vanish too soon. Still, the words burn into your memory. A secret economy, a hidden world, beyond their whips, beyond their rules. You go to sleep with a new kind of hunger, not for food, not for safety, but for value, because today you learned you are not just a servant. You are the offering, but more than that, you are the currency. And somewhere out there, you might be worth more than they fear. You thought this world would be noble, clean, structured, cinematic. You were wrong. You thought the history books would help. They didn't, because what they teach in classrooms comes wrapped in numbers, dates, exports, declarations. But no one tells you what it actually felt like, to be seen as a tool with skin. You imagined whips, but not the waiting, the long, slow hours of nothingness, the aching boredom between commands, the monotony that strips you of thought. The truth is, slavery wasn't always blood and screaming. Most of it was silence. You imagined rebellion, fire, drama, swords. But real rebellion? It's a stolen yam, a whispered name, a song hummed too loud. And punishment comes not like lightning, but like rain, constant, soaking, quietly eroding your mind. You imagine unity, but the system is built to divide you. House slave versus field slave, light skin versus dark, strong versus weak, Christian versus traditional, new versus old. You look around and realize no one here fully trusts anyone, because that's how they designed it. Suspicion is survival. You imagined heroes, but out here, no one can afford to be a hero, because a hero bleeds, and when they die, the world doesn't remember their face, just the mess they left behind. You see a woman today, not young, not old. She carries herself with calm precision, sharp eyes, silent feet. She folds laundry for the master's family. The master's wife calls her Delilah. But you hear someone whisper her real name, Amma. You watch her work. She never makes eye contact, never lingers, never sighs. She has perfected the art of invisibility. And still, you see the red mark on her wrist. You see her pause when she hears Yoruba spoken by a new arrival. You see her bite her cheek when the master's daughter grabs her necklace. And you realize she's screaming on the inside. You thought this world was dramatic, like a movie. But real life is louder in the quiet moments, slower, hungrier. A man collapses during work today. Too little food, too much sun. They don't carry him back. They leave him. His body twitches for hours, and when night comes, they bury him beside the cane. No name, no words, just a shallow grave and a whisper. He was strong. That's all the obituary anyone gets here. Later that night, you sit by the hut and stare at your hands. scarred, burnt, cracked. You try to remember what they looked like before, but you can't. Even your memory has turned against you. Someone asks you, "What was your father's name?" You pause. You don't know. Or maybe you did. But this place eats names. A child draws shapes in the dirt with a stick. Circles, dots, waves. You recognize the marks. Adinkra, Enzabiti, sacred signs from a land far across the sea. The child doesn't know what they mean, but they draw them anyway, as if the soul remembers what the tongue forgot. You whisper, "You are not just a servant. You are the offering." The moon rises, and the quarters go quiet, but the myths still live, far beyond these fields. Myths that say the slaves were cared for, that they were ignorant, happy, grateful, that they danced every night under the stars. You laugh, but there's no joy in it, only fire, because you know the truth. You are not just a warrior. You are the consequence. The legacy of sugar is not sweetness, it's trauma. And yet, you are still here, still breathing, still waking, still remembering. And that is the most dangerous myth breaker of all. There's blood on your hands now. Maybe yours, maybe not. But it doesn't matter, because the ground doesn't care. The fields don't care. The sun rises the same, warm, distant, merciless. The day began like the rest. Bell sweat, Cain. But something inside you was different. Something that's been growing, quietly, rooted in every whisper, every bruise, every unspoken word. It's not anger, it's clarity. You were assigned to carry water buckets to the overseer's station. Not far, but far enough to feel alone. You passed the edge of the cane fields, the place where no one lingers. And that's when it happened. You heard the snap, not the whip. A branch. You turned and saw her, Amma, the house slave, the one with the red mark on her wrist. The one who never spoke out of turn. She wasn't carrying laundry today. She was holding a blade. Your heart stopped. Not because of fear, because of what it meant. She looked at you. Not a word passed between you, just a nod. And then she disappeared into the cane. You stood there, alone, breath shallow. And suddenly, the choice came. Do you tell him? Do you run to the overseer, report what you saw, save your own skin? Or do you say nothing? Let silence speak. Let rebellion breathe. Your lips stayed closed, and in that moment, something inside you shifted. But silence has a sound, and betrayal has a shadow, because minutes later, shouting, not near you, near the big house, a crash, a scream, gunfire, then silence. Real, absolute, suffocating silence. Later, they bring her body through the field. Amma, shot in the back. Her blade still clutched in her hand. Her eyes open, not wide with fear, but still, steady. The master doesn't speak to you. Neither do the soldiers. But the overseer glances your way. Too long, too curious. He knows. Or maybe he suspects. Either way, the silence has cost you something. That night, the air is thick with fear. No one speaks her name, but they all feel her absence. A chair is empty. A song is missing. A rhythm is broken. And inside you, a fire. You kneel in the dirt. At the edge of the clearing, you press your fingers into the soil and whisper. You were not just a servant. You were the offering. You say it again, louder. The girl beside you joins in, then the boy, then the elder, until the night vibrates with a quiet hum, a chant made of grief and defiance. You think of that first day when you woke in the straw, confused, afraid. You didn't know your name then. You know it now. You say it inside your chest. Say it for the ancestors. Say it for Amma. And say it for the ones who cannot speak anymore. This day will echo through time, not because of a battle, not because of victory, but because you chose silence. You chose memory. You chose to let her fight and to carry the fire forward. Somewhere, far from this field, a page will turn, a name will be searched, a record found. Unidentified female slave, executed after suspected resistance. No details, no story, but maybe someone will wonder. Who was she? Why did she fight? And did anyone stand beside her? Yes, you did. Maybe the gods didn't make a mistake. Maybe they were waiting for this day, waiting for you. The moon is out, but it doesn't shine. It hovers, cold, silent, watching. You lie on your side, still dressed in the same torn cloth you wore in the field, your knees drawn to your chest, the day's dust still clinging to your skin, the cuts still open, unwashed. But none of that matters right now, because tonight you're not thinking about pain. You're thinking about what's left of you. The quarters are quiet, too quiet. No muttering, no coughing, no moaning. Just breathe. Thin, exhausted breath, like wind barely moving through dry trees. You feel every heartbeat, like it's not just yours, but part of something older, something larger. Like the room is filled with invisible threads tying you to every soul in it, and each one of those threads is pulled tight. The day was heavy, but the night is heavier, not with noise, but with weight, the kind of weight that lives in your chest, in your jaw, behind your eyes. You haven't cried. You can't. Even tears feel like a luxury now. You sit up slowly, careful not to wake the girl beside you. She's no older than 13. She twitches in her sleep. You wonder if she's dreaming, and if she is, whether it's of before or after. You stand and step outside, barefoot, silent, careful. The night air is thick with cane smoke and the scent of charcoal. Someone, somewhere, is still boiling sugar. Even in the dark, the fire never stops. Not here. You walk to the edge of the compound, to the tree with the split trunk. It's where Amma used to stand every night, alone, facing the horizon. You never asked why. You never needed to. Because now, you find yourself doing the same, staring into the dark like it might open up and whisper a secret. Like it might show you a road home. The wind brushes your face, software, almost kind, and for a moment you allow yourself to breathe, really breathe, not the shallow panic breaths of the day, not the controlled breath of silence, but the kind that fills your lungs with life and memory. You see her again, Amma, not as she died, but as she lived, sharp, quiet, stronger than anyone gave her credit for. You see her holding that blade, not out of rage, out of necessity, out of the deep soul-level knowledge that this world would never give her freedom. So she reached for it herself. You whisper her name into the dark. Amma. It doesn't echo, but it settles in the branches above you. Like the tree itself is listening. Behind you, in the hut, someone stirs. An elder hums a tune, wordless, breathy, old. It sounds like the sea. Not the sea that stole you, but the sea that once carried traders, drummers, healers. The other sea, the one in your bones. You return inside. Someone has lit a candle. Its glow dances across the wall. Small, flickering, fragile. But it's enough to see the people around you. The ones who carried buckets beside you, who cut cane beside you, who watched Amma fall and stayed standing. And you realize these are not survivors. These are witnesses and carriers of a legacy the world tried to erase. A child sleeps beside your mat. His hand is closed in a fist. Inside it, a tiny carved figure. You don't know what it is, but you know what it means. Someone gave it to him. Someone who wanted him to have more than memory, to have a future, even if it was carved in secret, even if it was passed hand to hand in the dark, even if no one ever speaks of it. You sit, cross-legged, face toward the candle, and for the first time in weeks, you speak. Not aloud, not fully, just inside your chest, to the fire, to Amma, to the ancestors, to the child you used to be. You were not just a servant, you were the offering. You repeat it slowly, deliberately. You feel every word settle into your ribs. This phrase, this thought, it's no longer just comfort, it's inheritance. You reach into the pouch hidden in the straw beneath your mat. Pull out the soap fragment you traded for days ago. Rub it between your palms, not to clean, but to remember, to mark yourself as still alive, because the dead don't wash, but the living do. The priestess speaks tonight, only one line. Her voice is cracked from smoke and silence. Sleep is the breath of the soul. Protect it. Then she goes quiet again. But her words settle into the room like a lullaby. You lie down. The floor presses against your shoulder blades. You feel every splinter, every knot in the wood, every breath of the boy beside you. But your chest is calm now. Your heartbeat has slowed. You stare up through the gaps in the roof, and the stars look back. Not many, but enough. 1, 2, maybe 5. That's all it takes. To remind you, you are not underground. You are not erased. You're still here. You hear a rustle. The child beside you opens his eyes. He doesn't speak. He just reaches for your hand. You let him take it. And in that grip, soft, small, unsure, you feel something return. Dignity, not given, claimed. You remember your name. Not the English one, the real one. The one given to you in the village by the river. Spoken during your naming ceremony. Sung into your ear by your mother. It's faint, but it's there. You hold it now, like a flame cupped in your palms, like the last thread between what the world sees and what you are. And then you breathe, one long breath, from the soles of your feet to the crown of your head. And for the first time in a long time, you sleep, not from exhaustion, not from collapse, but from peace. Just before the dreams come, you hear it again. Faint, inside your head, inside the dark, inside everything. You were never just a servant. You were the story. Sleep now, and if they call your name tomorrow, you'll remember which one to answer to. You lived it. You felt it. You woke to the smell of rotting cloth and damp soil. You swung the blade until your hands bled. You buried the girl whose name no one said out loud. You watched Amma walk into the cane with a blade in her hand and freedom in her eyes. And now the night has passed. The fire has burned. The blood has dried. The breath has slowed. But you're still here. And you know something now that you didn't before. This was never just about survival. It was about remembrance. You thought this story was about history. It wasn't. It was about you. About how far you could bend before you broke. About whether your silence was safety or surrender. About what you would do when no one was watching. About whether you'd kneel to survive or whisper your name in the dark to stay alive. The cane still grows. The sun still burns. The overseer still walks in your memory like a shadow that doesn't fade. But now you carry more than fear. You carry names. You carry faces. You carry fragments of lives the world tried to erase. And in doing so, you carry truth. Do you feel that? That hollow space in your chest? That weight behind your eyes? That's not guilt, not shame, not even sadness. It's the sound of knowing what it really meant to be born into a world that did not see you as a person, but as a number, a tool, a pair of hands, a wound that could be worked until it stopped bleeding. Somewhere out there, someone is still trying to make this look neat, still writing sugar into history like it was sweetness, not suffering, still counting profit in pounds and pence, never counting what it cost to cut a single stalk, still showing white dresses and sun hats and porches, never showing the blood soaked into the soil beneath them. But now you know. Now you've walked through the fire. Now you've felt the breath pulled from your body. Now you've tasted the silence left behind when a whip finishes its sentence. Now you've felt what it was like to wake up without your name, and still whisper it anyway. You were not just a servant. You were the offering. You were not just a witness. You were the story. So now I ask you, could you have survived a single day in this world, not just in body, but in soul? Could you have watched a child starve while feeding sugar to a nation? Could you have buried your friend and gone back to work the next morning? Could you have sung under your breath, knowing that hope itself could get you whipped? Could you have known your own death was meaningless to the ones in charge and still kept breathing? You're here now, and that means something, because most won't make it this far. Most turn away. Most can't look history in the eyes when it stops being convenient. But you stayed. You listened. You carried every moment. You stood in the sweat. You kneeled in the cane. You watched Amma fall, and you didn't blink. That makes you rare. You're more than a viewer now. You're a carrier of memory, of witness, of legacy. And that comes with a question. What will you do with it? Because the story doesn't end when the episode does. It keeps moving, in silence, in soil, in bloodlines. It's alive in names you've never heard. It's hiding in laws still on the books. It's breathing in systems we pretend not to see. It's in the way we talk about labor, the way we measure worth, the way some people still walk into rooms and aren't seen. So here is your moment to feel, to reflect, to respond. What part of this story stayed in your bones? What detail made you stop breathing? What would you have done when they brought the whip? Would you have stayed silent? Or whispered someone's name in the dark? Tell me in the comments. Tell me what truth you saw in this. Tell me how this changed the way you think about history, about your place in it. Because when you speak, you break the silence that tried to bury stories like this for centuries. And if you don't know what to say, that's okay too. Just sit with it. Let the weight settle in your chest. Let the blood echo in your ears. Let the story make a home behind your eyes, because that's how memory becomes legacy. And if your heart feels heavy, let it. That heaviness is truth finding space inside you. That heaviness is the soul of the past saying, "Thank you for seeing me." We don't tell these stories to entertain. We tell them because they were never allowed to be told before. We tell them because names like Kojo and Amma still float in the wind, waiting for someone to speak them with honor. We tell them because they were people, not victims, not statistics. People who dreamed, people who danced before the ships came, people who whispered in languages that still echo inside the bones of continents. And you just walked in their footsteps, even if only for a moment. So sleep well, storyteller. Tonight, you don't carry ignorance. You carry remembrance. You carry Amma's breath, Kojo's scream, the boy who died nameless, the girl who never finished her braid. You carry the weight of silence and the promise to never let it win again. You were never just a servant. You were the offering. You were never just a viewer. You were the witness. You are no longer just part of the present. You are now a keeper of the past. Close your eyes, and if the stars speak to you tonight, listen, because not everyone gets to dream in freedom, but you can, and now you understand what it cost.